There are two major lessons that can be gained from what I'm about to tell you as it pertains to the Wade family, but I'm going to save that to the end to tell you what the two things are that I noticed just from skimming the article alone. So there's this story that just went out, and it's kind of everywhere. If you just type Dwyane Wade into Google and type on the news tab, you should be able to find endless articles about it, where D Wade has basically stated that he and his family, which is him, the high priestess, which he married, their child, their the youngest, and maybe the other two, the ones that they tried their best not to talk about often, because the one on the left in this image has soaked up all the attention thanks to the two to the right of them in this image, well, to their left, where he said that he and his family can no longer live in the state of Florida. Reason being, because he said that he feels that his family cannot be accepted there on the account of their child, well, his child, that they have decided to name Zaya, because there are some anti-academy laws on the books that wouldn't make it a good environment for not only for Zaya, quote unquote, to live in, but for them to live in as well. But I'm gonna go ahead now and read the article. NBA legend Dwyane Wade, who became a basketball icon during his time with the Miami Heat, is no longer a Florida resident. He says it's because of the transgender legislation state lawmakers have proposed. In 2020, Wade's 12-year-old daughter, Zaya, I'm reading it as they write it, came out as transgender. Now age 15, they have transitioned with the support of Wade and the high priestess, which he married, Gabrielle Union Wade. Zaya's transition was met with pushback. Their mother, Siobhan Funches, opposed the transition in court, accused Wade of pressuring them for financial gain. Ultimately, however, a California court approved it, not surprising there, considering California is seen as the quote-unquote most liberal state. On the latest episode of Showtime's Headliners, host Rachel Nichols pointed out the fact that the state he's most associated with isn't as supportive. The state where you play most of your career, Florida, has a bunch of laws moving through the state legislature right now, Nichols said. One of them says if you're a parent who supports your own child the way you have supported Zaya, you can have that child taken away. You can lose custody of that child just for being supportive the way you have. One of them talks about doctors making it a felony to treat that child. Now, I didn't know that that's what was going on down there. But again, this is Florida. Look who the governor is. He's in, as in Jada would call it, an entanglement with Disney right now. One, I don't think he's going to win. But when you think about who he is and the other stuff that goes on down in that state, as a result, I'm not surprised by this. But if I have any Florida subscribers right now, can y'all please inform me some more about these laws? Wade said that it wouldn't be a safe environment for his family. That's another reason why I don't live in that state, he said. A lot of people don't know that. I didn't know that. Well, as far as him not living in the state and these laws that they got, I have to make decisions for my family, not just personal, individual decisions. How obviously the taxes are great. Having quote unquote Wade County is great, but my family would not be accepted or feel comfortable there. If he could, Wade says he would love to have a conversation with those lawmakers to understand their reasoning. I would love to understand their personal ideas of why, what's the reason behind this, Wade said. Let's sit down and talk about it. I don't think they want to have conversations. Oh, of course they don't. They already have their minds made up. Do I hate it? I hate it. I hate that we're taking so many steps backwards from everything that I've learned as a kid to now. It seems like we were making so many strides, and placebo strides. I call them that. They weren't actual strides. They were placebo strides. It's going to take more than getting an award at the NAACP award, at the NAACP Image Awards, and lambasting us, Gabrielle. And that's going to go into my point at the end, for them to actually listen and actually give a damn. And now as an adult, you look back and you're like, well, what happened to the strides we were making? Because we feel like we're right back into the 60s and 70s in a sense. Okay, when I see that 60s, 70s part, it sounds like D Wade is trying to lump in with the civil rights movement, which I'm almost certain with him mentioning those two eras, that's what he was trying to do. Don't do that. I mean, you already did it, but don't do that. Now, let me get on to my 2 points. And they're not in any particular order, but it's a reason why I'm ordering them this way. The first point I wanted to make is this. Don't go out there flaunting your lifestyle or the lifestyle of your loved one, thinking that everybody is just going to accept it with open arms just because you may have some legislation on the books on a federal level. Remember, this is a state thing. This is what Florida is doing. Just because the government is doing one thing, they do have the choice as a state to decide to do whatever it is that they want to. Of course, in that state, you can get married because it's a federal thing. But it's certain other things in there that they implement that's for that particular state. And it's not just for Florida, but it could be for any state that has it, where they can say you can do this and you can do that. You cannot do this and you cannot do that. And apparently it was enough in there for Dwyane Wade to say to his family, look, this is too much. We're going to have to pack it up and we're going to have to go to a more liberal state. I would not be surprised if they hightail it to California, considering California is the state that allowed the transition of illegally calling Zion now Zaya, even against his own biological mother's wishes. So they might end up in California. I'm actually surprised they weren't already there as permanent residents. I was surprised they were still living in Florida, but I mean, I guess. The next point, and this is probably the one that made this point right here, is the one that really made me want to make this video. And that's why when I highlighted what Gabrielle had said at the Image Awards back in February. And this is something I said before. These lawmakers that are causing you and your family to move out of the state because it's anti-academy, I'm willing to bet that none of them are black. And I say that to say this. Gabrielle Union, you had so much smoke for black people at the Image Awards a couple months ago, back in February, when you and D-Wade got that little award. We remember what you said. I talked about it in a live stream and clipped it and made it into a whole video. That was so tacky and so disrespectful of what you said. But I bet you would not get up on a platform and call out the lawmakers of Florida the way that you blasted or put all this dark, negative energy towards black people the way that you did back in February. You know you won't do it because you still got to work. Whether it's on streaming or, if possible, get back on the big screen. You're not about to do it. I bet you if them lawmakers were black, she would have had a nice soliloquy or a whole haiku or a diatribe to blast them with the way that she came at black people's neck back in February. With all the theatrics and all the dramatics. Not everybody, like I said in the first point, has to be accepting of whatever it is that you're doing. But the fact that she sat up there and said that about them, and I know she ain't gonna say nothing about them, is very telling, but not shocking nor surprising if she doesn't do it. And I know she won't do it. So merely my second point is coming at her because I still remember what she said. To try to make it seem like, because this is the talking point. Oh, the black community is the most homophobic. Oh, the black community is the most transphobic. What happened in North Carolina a few years ago, when it was about when they were trying to get the bathroom situation taken care of, and they denied that. What did they do? They ended up moving the All-Star game out of North Carolina into Louisiana, probably about a week ahead of the All-Star game, literally completely having to rearrange their plans. Like, that had to affect a lot of people who were traveling to come to that game. They already had it set out, and now they had to rework everything or cancel their plans altogether. And them lawmakers, just like the ones in Florida, were not black. I keep telling people, if they want to talk about the most homophobic or transphobic, this, that, and the third, look to your lawmakers. Those are the ones, if you want to give them that title, you give it to them. Don't give it to us. See, I know why they do, why they try to throw that label and that title onto us, because they feel like we are their weak point, or we are the weakest link. We're the bottom tier, so you always got to attack that bottom tier, but keep in mind the bottom tier holds up the foundation, and if you knock the bottom tier out like a house of cards, it's going to crumble over. So be very careful with what you say, Gabrielle Union. Like I said, I doubt she's going to say what she said to us back in February, to the same lawmakers that are forcing, well, not even forcing, because it's not like they're kicking them out of the state, they're choosing to leave. I bet she's not going to say and have the same energy for them that she had for us. And this whole notion that black people are homophobic and transphobic and this, that, and the third, we just let that just kind of roll off our shoulders at this point. I mean, you can think whatever it is that you want, but at the end of the day, we aren't the ones that are making you choose to leave the state, uproot your life, and then head to another state that you, at the current moment, don't know what state you're going to go to. So that's all I really have to say. Just be very careful about your words. Choose them wisely, because one day they might actually come back to bite you in the ass. Now, there's video popped up and is going viral on social media where Dwyane Wade and Gabrielle Union are leaving it. I guess it's a Knicks game. I'm not exactly sure, but it's some Knicks fans out there. I'm going to play this video. It's only 20 seconds long, and I want you to listen to what is going on here from all angles. So y'all just heard that right there. I'm gonna put the camera right back on this guy right here. So you hear, first off, you heard people booing them as they came out. That was Gabrielle and Dwyane walking out of the facility, and they got booed as soon as they saw their face. And you know, she's right there in the front, leading the charge as usual. And they instantly booed them. And you have this guy right here in the St. John's hoodie says, yelling out, "Why did you mutilate your son?" He said it two or three times, like you could hear him saying it. And the person recording this made sure to keep the camera on him so people would know that it was him that said it. And he didn't care. It's not like he was trying to hide. I mean, it's not like he had a mask on his face so he could try to like not be seen. He's asked Dwyane Wade and Gabrielle, as far as I'm concerned, "Why did you mutilate your son?" Now, mind you, the video is about them leaving out of Florida because they feel like it's not a good environment for them to raise the child. I can only just call this person, this individual, the child at this point. And here they are in New York, miles away, hours away from Florida. You're probably talking about maybe a whole day's worth of driving if they drove, but clearly they didn't drive. From Florida to New York, and with what they were dealing with in Florida. Now, I have a question to Gabrielle Union, again, going back to how I was going on a little rant towards the end of the video, in the second part of the video. This is clearly not a black man, Gabrielle, that is yelling out, "Why did you mutilate your son?" Said it 3 times. Are you going to have smoke for him? I know it's a rhetorical question. I know she's not. And someone even suggested that they wouldn't be surprised if it was her idea to move up out of Florida. And Dwyane was the one that just went up front and made the announcement that they were going to move. Here's the thing. Not everyone is on your timetable, Gabrielle and Dwyane. Not everyone, again, like I said it before, not everyone's going to be locked in step with whatever it is that you're doing. No one likes the fact that you are putting yourselves out there for the sole purpose of attention seeking, because let's be real here. That's what they're doing. That's really all it is. To me, that's all it boils down to. And to many others, they are fed up and they are sick of the antics. But the fact that they want to try to throw this onto black people as if it's only us that feels that way, when clearly, as you can see by this video that y'all just saw and from those lawmakers down in Florida, it's not just black people that are not feeling this. And the thing about it is, there's nothing they can really do about it. I mean, what you going to do, wave a wand around and make people just all of a sudden fall in lust over with whatever it is that you're doing? That's not happening. That would only happen in fairy tales. Well, in this case, in nightmares. And I was reading through some of the comments under this video. Many people were saying, I hope they get shamed everywhere they go. I can't say that I disagree. I mean, look at what they did to that kid. Look at what they did. This is going, like I'm telling you, this is going to have a lot of negative blowback on their part. And they'll have no one to blame but themselves. This is only the beginning for them. Imagine this happens everywhere they go. Then what they going to do? Hide like hermits? Maybe if you kept your personal life private and wasn't so quick to put your business out there for public consumption, then none of this would be going on. And again, a lot of people said if the kid would have waited or till they were 18 or some reasonable adult age to make this decision, no one would have cared because you're an adult. That's why a lot of people don't care about what Magic Johnson's son is doing, because he was an adult when he made these decisions to drastically change his appearance. There's a difference between an adult and a minor. And the artist formerly known as Dwyane Wade is a minor. They're still 15 or about to turn 16, which is still a minor. They have 2 or 3 more years to go before they are legally declared an adult by federal standards, or federal guidelines, I should say. So again, I don't feel bad for them. If they get heckled everywhere they go, so be it. If they get judged at every turn, it is what it is. They brought it on themselves. They cannot point the finger of blame at anyone else but them. They better look at that nice big giant mirror they may have in their new home and realize that you were the ones that effed up.